The GBA is freaking awesome. Emulating GBA games is freaking awesome. The GBA had a freaking awesome library of games, but some of those games don't get talked about much. They kind of fly under the radar. And today I'm going to show you 5 of my favorite GBA hidden gems that are 100% dweeb-approved. Hey there, how's it going? I'm TechDweeb, welcome. Thanks for clicking on the video today. Fun fact, the GBA is my favorite system to emulate. For several reasons, some of which we'll talk about in the video today, but the short version is that GBA games are from a golden age of retro gaming. And a ton of GBA games were timeless classics that still hold up today. There were tons of GBA games released, almost 1,000 released in North America alone. And while everyone knows the heavy hitters, you know, your Marios and your Sonics, and your Castlevanias and Final Fantasies, there are scads of games that were really good that kind of fly under the radar. The GBA was easy to develop for, and because of that, there were lots of duds, but there were also lots of hidden gems. That's right, this is a hidden gems video. The first of multiple, actually. That's the plan, at least. Since the GBA is my favorite retro system, I plan on going through the entire GBA library. I'm not going to play every game. I don't need to play 12 Yu-Gi-Oh games to know that I hate Yu-Gi-Oh games. But I've actually already gone through the entire GBA library, just viewing the screenshots and descriptions, and I've come up with a big list of games that I'm planning to check out and give a good chance to. I've already started, actually, and I've already found a ton of amazing games. Today, I'm just going to show you 5, but that's just because I want to talk about each one here for a few minutes. And if I did them all in one video, this would be a freaking hour long. But stay tuned for more videos like this in the near future. More GBA content, but also more hidden gems content from other systems too, because I freaking love this topic. And I love finding great games that most people don't know about. Oh, and if you're not subscribed yet, well, freaking subscribe, you goof. Come on now. So with all that out of the way, how's about I quit wasting your precious time and get on to the games? I'm gonna start off with I don't know what genre this is, actually. I guess it's like a management game, or maybe a strategy game. I'm not sure. Who cares? It's called Sea Trader: Rise of Taipan. And like the name implies, you're a sea trader. You have a boat and a crew, and you can pick your first mate, and you sail the seas of China, trading and delivering goods like some sort of ancient Amazon delivery boat. The gameplay loop is pretty darn simple. You sail from port to port, checking the price of goods, buying stuff when the price is low, and ideally selling when it's high. There's a risk-reward element because if you buy a ship full of something valuable and then you're sailing to a destination and you're waylaid by pirates, you could lose your stuff, or you might have to dump some of your cargo so that you're light enough to escape. And then what if you have a ship full of cargo that you're waiting to find a good port to sell in, but then you come across a different crazy good deal? Do you sell your stuff at a loss just so you have the cargo space? And then there's random events that happen in the waters. There's messages in bottles, mermaids. I even saw a sea monster once. I wonder what the deal with that is. In town, there's also some other stuff that you could do. You could visit the tavern to buy everyone a round of drinks, to get some rumors, although you need to make sure you don't drink too much or you might end up in an alley missing some money, just like real life. There's a shipyard where you can improve your ship, and you can meet new crew members with different abilities and bring them onto your ship. You can keep your money or valuable trading items in a bank or warehouse, and then after you become rich from the basic goods and you're feeling pretty good about yourself, the game opens up. You can schmooze your way into the upper class and trade in exotic goods, and then you could buy a map that opens up an entire other section of the game. Are there even more other sections? Well, I don't know, but I'm freaking loving the game and I intend to find out. It's seriously addictive. I intended to play for 5 minutes just to record some footage for this video, and I ended up playing for 30 minutes, and I didn't want to stop. And then later in the night, last night, I stayed up an hour past my bedtime playing this. Those who know me well know that I love me some pinball. Both real-life pinball, but also digital pinball. Any pinball, really. I'll take it any way I can get it. I should make an entire video on my love of pinball and the best pinball games because I could go on and on about it. Now, let me know in the comments if you'd actually want to watch that, but I'm not going to do that today. There are a bunch of really good pinball games on the GBA. Pac-Man Pinball, Mario Pinball Land, Sonic Pinball Party, Pokemon Pinball, all the big names have a pinball game on the GBA. But one pinball game never really gets talked about, and that's Pinball of the Dead. It's not a crazy, accurate, or satisfying pinball simulation, but it's not trying to be. It's a pinball video game that knows it's a video game. And in the same vein as one of my favorite digital pinball games, Devil's Crush, this pinball game does more than just give you a table to bounce a ball around in. It gives you enemies to fight, progression, and even boss battles. I really like the original House of the Dead. I used to play that at the arcade, and I enjoyed the PC version back in the day. This has lots of that flavor, and there are 3 tables to choose from, which represent 3 kind of different locations and stories from the series. One of the things I like about pinball, especially real pinball, is how each table is like its own unique game. In real pinball, for instance, you might have to hit all these markers over here, and then that'll make the roller coaster rail lines flash, and you'll have to hit those, and then maybe you'll unlock a multiplier for the bumper grove up at the top. Well, in digital pinball, you get all those things, but you also get things that you can't get in real life. In Pinball of the Dead, you get waves of zombies that wander around the board that you have to kill. And then if you defeat all the zombies in a certain area, you'll unlock up the boss fight for that area. I mean, it's pinball with zombies. It's not over the top, not particularly interesting, but it's just a fun pinball game. It's fun because it has zombies in it. That's all we really got to say about it. Another genre that I love is a good beat-em-up. I find beat-em-ups are great just for turning your brain off and just unwinding and with some mindless button mashing, watching the characters on the screen smash each other around. Since the release of Shredder's Revenge and that Sega Genesis ROM hack Turtles game, and also that new kids movie that I'm totally not gonna go watch by myself in the theater wearing a trench coat, I've kind of had my love of Ninja Turtle beat-em-ups reinvigorated. I played through the entire Turtles in Time just for kicks a few days ago. The GBA is home to lots of good beat-em-up games, but TMNT is one of the best. I think this is a movie tie-in to that 2007 movie, but you don't need to think of this as a movie game. It's just a good old Turtles beat-em-up, a throwback to the good old Ninja Turtle beat-em-ups that we all love. There's a story of some sort, but who the heck cares? All you need to know is that there's bad guys who want to kill you, so you gotta kill them. The fighting is super satisfying. The combos feel great, and you can chain different attacks together. There's weapons that you can grab, obviously. Swing a baseball bat around and feel like Casey Jones, why not? When you defeat the enemies, they drop money, which you can spend after each level for different abilities. The game generally is pretty easy, but a few enemies can be surprisingly difficult. I remember the first time I encountered these jerks on motorcycles. They nearly ruined my life. There's boss fights too, and they feel unique from each other. The levels too. Each level feels quite different, and that mostly comes down to the art style. And speaking of the art, it's freaking awesome. There's a ton of attention paid to the character designs and the backgrounds and the animations, and it all comes together to feel like a super high quality beat-em-up game. And it's Ninja Turtles. What's not to love? My favorite Ninja Turtle is Donatello, by the way. Give your favorite turtle a shout out in the comments below. Next up, we have Invader, which is a shoot-em-up game, another genre that I'm nuts about. I feel like I'm pretty good at shoot-em-ups. I could hold my own in 1944 or Dodonpachi on the arcade, but for some reason I freaking suck at this game, which is okay with me. I don't mind sucking at a game as long as the game feels fair, so I just need to get gooder. And this game is definitely like that. It's just hard, but I'm finally getting the hang of it. I never perform well when I'm recording the video footage, by the way. I get a little camera shy, I think. So don't judge me when you see my gameplay on the video. Just trust me, I'm at least 3% better than you see me here right now. So this game captured my attention because of the great art style. Look how great these sprites look and how smooth these animations are. A shmup doesn't need to have great art because you're so often engrossed in avoiding flashing projectiles that you don't have time to stop and smell the roses. But having great art and great gameplay can elevate a game from being okay to being really, really good. The gameplay is simple. You shoot the bad guys and avoid their shots. You have different weapons that you can switch between with the R button, and you can level up each weapon independently. You can collect coins from the murdered corpses of your fallen enemies, which you can use to buy upgrades on the fly. The game world has two kind of levels to it. There's the sky and the ground. So your A button shoots your sky weapon, and you have this crosshair which you can use to lock onto the ground enemies and shoot them with your rockets with the B button. One of the main aspects of a good shmup is the boss fights, and Invader does not disappoint here. The bosses are big and unique, and each one is its own, sort of own puzzle to solve, to learn the attacks and how to avoid them. You can play at easy, medium, or hard difficulty, and I always play on medium, and that has proven to be a really tough challenge for me. But I want to get good. I want to get better and be able to beat the game on medium. So I just keep grinding away at it, getting a little better and a little bit further every time. And it's become my favorite shmup on the GBA just because I keep going back to it. And I saved the best for last. This is Juka and the Monophonic Menace. I had never heard of this game. I saw its screenshot in my game list and I was like, what the heck is that? It looks good. So I fired it up and I was more than pleasantly surprised. This game is half the reason I wanted to make this video. I'm honestly confused that more people don't talk about this game. It's kind of simple and easy, but that's a good thing. It is super accessible. I think there's something for everyone here in this unique action RPG. It has a cool story. Juka is a young alchemist who sets out to rescue the people of his village from some bad thing. There's some mystery, we don't know what's up, and slowly it's revealed. It's a simple story, but it's got a lot of charm. This frog character is particularly amusing. It's freaking adorable. Look at little Juka running around with his little hat bouncing. The world itself feels like it's from a storybook. Almost everything looks sort of sewn together from fabric. And the game has unique battle mechanics. It has this battle system where you need to figure out the pattern required to defeat each enemy and then capture the enemy's projectiles in that pattern to be able to blast them out of existence. And then there's the gathering and crafting element. That's a big part of the game. Outside of combat, you need to keep your various jars of alchemy ingredients filled up by collecting stuff from the world, and then you can craft various potions to either help you in combat or do things out in the world. You have a book of potions that you can refer to, and then you need to mix up the potions using the right amount of ingredients. There's quite a bit of busy work, but that honestly, it adds to the genuine feeling that you're actually doing this stuff. And then we need to talk about the great art style. Look how awesome this looks. I'm a sucker for good pixel art. It's the reason that I love the GBA, because the GBA was a portable system from the retro era, and because of that, the processing power of the device and also the screen resolution were quite limiting, but it's a bit of a later system. This thing was around during the GameCube era, so the games themselves are designed with a more modern, sophisticated game design sensibility. And not to mention that we had basically figured out some amazing pixel art styles by that point. Juka represents a lot of what I love about the Game Boy Advance, using good game design and great art to make the games stand out and be enjoyable, rather than raw horsepower. And Juka has great art. I mean, just look at these menus. Look at the graphic design around the edge of the screen. Or in the game world, just look at all the little details on the screen. There's so much love and care put into this game, and I'm having an awesome time playing through it. I'm not very far, I'm only about like 2 or 3 hours in, but I'm excited to see it through to the end. Speaking of the end, that's the end of my games today. Just 5 games. I wanted to give each one enough of a showcase to actually be able to tell you stuff about them, but I have many more to share. So you can definitely expect more videos like this in the future. So you should probably subscribe if you haven't yet, so you don't miss them. If you liked this video, then check out this one, where I test out the Powkitty X55, which is my current favorite GBA handheld. I play with that thing a ton. There's a link to that video on the screen and at the top of the description below. So go watch that because we're done here. I'm TechDweeb, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.